Just over a year after the party unification, the ruling Nepal Communist Party has been able to complete the integration process, sealing a deal on the leadership of 33 party departments. Despite the agreement, the party chief and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has been charged of breaching the party statute in a bid to strengthen his own panel within the party. Thus, the power equation might look settled for the time being. The voices raised against Premier Oli might just be the tip of the iceberg. Good morning, I am Prarambha Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Power equation within the ruling Nepal Communist Party transformed following allocation of responsibilities among senior leaders. Prime Minister Oli successful in strengthening his faction. People's representatives at local levels resort to abusing state coffers through haphazard allocation of salaries and benefits, the move contrary to constitutional provision. Suicide bombers target wedding revelers in Afghanistan capital Kabul. A high casualty feared as victims rushed to nearby hospitals. And Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur settle for a draw as VAR in the spotlight yet again at the English Premier League. Nepal Communist Party determined leadership of its 33 different departments after 13 months of the official merger between the erstwhile CPN Maoist Center and CPN UML. However, despite deciding the leadership positions after protracted disputes, Chairman KP Sharma Oli has consolidated his own intra-party faction by breaching the party statute instead of strengthening the overall party. Clearly divided into three factions, it took quite a long period of time for the ruling party to determine its departmental leaders. Leaders previously linked with the departments have not been granted the leadership roles this time around. Prime Minister and NCP Chairman KP Sharma Oli has handed the leadership roles to leaders close to him to further bolster his own faction within the party. Oli has been able to draw support of Bamdev Gautam, who previously was considered close to another chairman Pushpakamal Dahal and senior leader Madhav Kumar Nepal by granting Gautam the positions of the party's vice chairman and the head of the organization department. At a time when co-chairman Dahal, senior leaders Madhav Nepal and Jhannath Khanal and leader Bamdev Gautam appear to share the same principles, Oli made efforts to strengthen his own faction through power distribution. Of the 32 departments, 18 departments are being led by former UML leaders, while 14 departments are chaired by former Maoist leaders. In doing so, Chairman duo Oli and Dahal have appointed leaders close to them, replacing capable and deserving individuals. Party leaders have noted that Oli took the opportunity to strengthen his faction by silencing the internal disputes for the moment. They are of the opinion that despite the party statute provisioning just a single role for a leader, Oli had breached the provision merely to strengthen his influence within the party.
यहाँ के हो भने विधि विधान नियम मापदण्ड आदि इत्यादि भन्ने कुरालाई मतलब राखेन र योगदान अनि क्रियाशीलता आदि इत्यादि तमाम कुराहरुको लागि पनि त्यसको पनि कुनै मतलब भएन कसलाई कहाँ कसलाई राख्न मन इच्छा लाग्छ त्यही अनुसार मान्छे व्यक्ति टिप्ने र जिम्मा दिने त्यही अनुसारको होमवर्क यो 14 महिनासम्म लगातार रूपमा त्यही किसिमको होमवर्क गर्ने काम भयो र त्यो 14 महिनासम्मको होमवर्क गर्दाखेरि पनि अझै टुङ्गिया छैन त्यसरी नै टुङ्ग्याउने त्यो दिशातर्फ गइराछ.
Although NCP has resolved the leadership dispute for the time being, political analysts have said that the process has, however, failed to provide a long-term solution. Analysts have said that Oli, bypassing other factions in the party for his own interest, is likely to give rise to the same old power struggle within the Nepal Communist Party.
यसो गर्दाखेरि पार्टीमा दिगो ढंगले समस्याको समाधान हुँदैन. क्राइसिसको पोस्टपोनमेन्ट हुन्छ. संकट थियो, संकटलाई स्थगित गरियो भन्ने त हुन्छ, तर असन्तुष्ट पक्ष त रहिहाल्छ. वामदेवलाई तीनटा कुरा दिइयो, उपाध्यक्ष पनि उनलाई दिन प्रस्तावित गरियो, अब संगठन विभाग पनि उनको, अब सांसद पनि हुँदैछन् भन्ने कुरा छ. त्यहाँ भनेपछि त कसैलाई पदै पद भयो, कसैलाई केही पदै भएन. अब यो ढंगले गर्दाखेरि के हुन्छ त भने पार्टीमा असन्तुलन हुने स्थिति हुन्छ, अन्याय पर्यो भनेर एकथरी कराउने पक्ष हुन्छ.
It would have been appropriate for Prime Minister Oli to address the grievances of other leaders of the party instead of only serving his own interest in strengthening his faction. The Act formed in relation to arrange the facilities for the local level officials and members has provisioned a monthly remuneration for the officers at the local levels. Except for Province 1, acts have been formulated with the provision of monthly salaries for local level representatives in 6 other provinces. Provincial Assembly members and constitution experts are of the opinion that such an arrangement is the violation of constitutional provision. The Constitution has made no arrangements for the local level representatives to receive any remuneration or salaries. However, those at provinces and the centre are entitled for salaries and benefits. Article 327 of the Constitution states that the facilities for the public representatives at the local levels would be based on the provincial laws. With some ease for accessing some facilities, the law still does not provide them with monetary benefits. However, ignoring the constitutional provision, provinces are formulating and implementing laws to serve the interests of the public representatives. All provinces except for Province 1 have formulated regulations to provide monthly salary under the heading Facility. Provincial Assembly members accept the unconstitutional practice in existence in the absence of consensus among the political parties. Article 108 of the Constitution clearly states the provision of remuneration and facilities for the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Chairman and Deputy Chairman of the National Assembly, members of the committees and the members of the Federal Parliament. Likewise, Article 196 of the Constitution provisions salaries and benefits for the Speaker and Deputy Speakers of the provinces. However, questions remain about the provinces breaching the constitutional provision in formulating laws for the local levels. This act is an attack on the significance and supremacy of the Constitution. Failure in amending such flaws in the formulated laws would have long-term impacts on the management and operation of the state. It is now time for a short break, but for more news, to stay with us. Middlemen between farmers and consumers make a profit of 30 rupees per litre of milk. Instead of reducing the amount charged by the middlemen, the Ministry of Agriculture is making preparations to increase the price of milk, which would add further burden to the consumers. The ministry has even formed a committee for this purpose, which is scheduled to submit its report today. According to the Dairy Development Board, offices under private dairies and Dairy Development Corporation are purchasing milk from farmers between 44 to 52 rupees per litre. Private dairies and DDC purchase the milk from farmers based on the fat and the SNF content and sell it at more than 80 rupees per litre. This means the layer between the farmers and consumers makes a direct profit of 30 rupees per litre, which is a very high ratio of profit. Instead of controlling such anomalies made by the DDC and private dairies, the government is heading towards adding further ply to the consumers by increasing the price of milk. Farmers must receive the appropriate price. The logic of increasing the price would have been valid if it considered the increasing investment cost. However, the government has ignored the aspect of reducing the profit for middlemen and has also not implemented methods to reduce the investment cost. The Ministry of Agriculture has not conducted any effective program towards transforming the diet for cattle. According to the Department of Livestock Services, around 2.2 million litres of milk is produced each day. However, not all the production finds market. This is also why, instead of increasing the price, ensuring market for the produced milk should be prioritized. Time now for the international news. A bomb has exploded in a wedding hall in the Afghan capital Kabul and many casualties are feared. Witnesses told the BBC a suicide bomber detonated explosives during a wedding ceremony. Witnesses said they had seen bodies. The explosion happened at around 20 to 40 local time in an area mostly populated by Shia Muslims. No group has said it carried out the attack, which happened in the west of the city. Sunni Muslim militants, including the Taliban and the Islamic State group, have repeatedly targeted Shia Hazara minorities in the Afghanistan and Pakistan cities. The latest blast comes just 10 days after a huge bomb outside a Kabul police station killed at least 14 people and injured nearly 150. We've got more news coming up, but right now it is time for yet another short break. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the sports lovers of Taplejung district what they think the sports infrastructure should be like. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
यहाँ प्याराफिट बन्नु एकदम आवश्यकता छ यहाँको जनताले सारै फुटबल प्रेमीहरू सारै दुःख गरेर हेरिराखेको अवस्था छ
चौडाइ चाहिँ मापदण्ड नसकेको छैन यसलाई चाहिँ विस्तार गर्नु एकदम जरुरी छ
ठिकै छ यो सम्मै छ यतिको झार चाहिँ होस् भन्ने चाहना
ग्राउन्ड चाहिँ तपाईको अहिले जति भइरहेछ त्यो भन्दा चाहिँ यसको स्तर चाहिँ सधैँको भन्दा चाहिँ अलिक राम्रो देखिया छ
हामीले ग्राउन्ड एकदम राम्रो बनाएको छौं पानी पर्दा नि पानी नजामिने
It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, what is your take on ward chairpersons as well collecting remuneration at the local level? Your options are A, against constitution, B, contrary to people's sentiment, and C, compensation for service. The voting is on. You can type NEWS, select your option A, B or C, and then send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. With this, let us move on to the sports news.
Sports news.
Video assistant referee VAR was yet again crucial in the clash between defending champions Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur, but this time at the English Premier League. Both the sides shared a point each as the match played at Etihad Stadium settled for a dramatic 2-2 draw. Raheem Sterling first scored for City in the 20th minute to put the hosts ahead. However, Eric Lamela equalized for Spurs 3 minutes later as he converted an Ndombele assist. Sergio Aguero then reinstated City's lead in the 35th minute as he made the best use of Kevin De Bruyne's pass. However, Lucas Moura put Spurs on level terms yet again as he converted Eric Lamela's assist. Manchester City striker Gabriel Jesus looked to have claimed a deserved victory right at the death of an intriguing Premier League clash, but his late strike was ruled out by the VAR for a handball by Aymeric Laporte. Gabriel Jesus could not hide his emotions after being denied the last gasp winner. The scenes as the goal was chalked off were reminiscent of the dramatic ending to last season's Champions League tie between the two sides at the same venue. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Liverpool secured their second win as they brushed aside Southampton 2-1. Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino scored a goal each for the Reds, while Danny Ings was also on the score sheet for Southampton. In another match, Arsenal saw off Burnley 2-1. Premier League matches slated for this evening see Sheffield United take on Crystal Palace, while Chelsea play against Leicester City. Zinedine Zidane said Gareth Bale is going to stay at Real Madrid after the Welsh forward set up Karim Benzema's opening goal in a 3-1 victory at Celta Vigo. Bale was a surprise starter after being linked with a move away from the club this summer, but was involved in Madrid's best moments, and Zidane insisted it was always his plan to play Bale in the game. Toni Kroos doubled Real's lead with a sensational 25-yard strike off the underside of the crossbar before Luka Modric was sent off for a late challenge on former Arsenal loanee Denis Suarez. Despite going down to 10 men at Estadio Municipal de Balaidos, Real scored a third when Lucas Vazquez finished off a flowing move late on. Celta's second-half substitute Eka Losada netted a consolation for the home side, beating Thibaut Courtois with a fierce shot in the stoppage time. Elsewhere in La Liga, Mallorca secured a 2-1 win against Eibar, while Valencia and Real Sociedad settled for a 1-1 draw. La Liga champions Barcelona had lost their opening league game of the season on Friday, going 1-0 down to Athletic Bilbao. Now, Borussia Dortmund have marked a flying start to their Bundesliga season. Dortmund came from behind to crush Augsburg 5-1. Visitors Augsburg found themselves ahead in the very first minute through Niederlechner. However, Borussia Dortmund made a sound comeback as Paco Alcacer scored a brace, with Jadon Sancho, Marco Reus and Julian Brandt also finding themselves in the score sheet. Elsewhere in the Bundesliga, defending champions Bayern Munich were held to a 2-2 draw by Hertha Berlin. Robert Lewandowski scored a brace for Bayern, while Luke Bacchio and Grujic were on the score sheet for Hertha. It is now time for the special segment Around the World.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi defended his government's controversial measure to strip the disputed region Kashmir of its statehood and special constitutional provision. In a national address from the Mughal-era Red Fort in New Delhi on the occasion of Indian Independence Day on 15th of August, Modi hailed the decision as a major achievement and one that would help unify the country and restore the region of its past glory. Just a day earlier, Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan used his own address celebrating Pakistan's Independence Day on August 14 to accuse India of planning military action on Kashmir. The unprecedented lockdown in Kashmir has affected around 4 million people. Meanwhile, Sonia Gandhi returned as Congress president in India 2 years after she handed the top job to her son Rahul Gandhi. Hong Kong airport resumed operations on Wednesday after a night of chaos which saw protesters clash with riot police. The Hong Kong International Airport had cancelled departing flights on Tuesday as anti-government protests in its main terminal continued for a fourth day. In an emotional press conference on Wednesday, Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam warned anti-government protesters not to push the city into an abyss. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump suggested a personal meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping to discuss the political crisis engulfing Hong Kong. In a tweet, Trump said he had zero doubt that Xi Jinping could humanely solve the Hong Kong problem. Donald Trump's administration is to make it more difficult for poorer legal migrants to extend their visas or gain permanent resident status or the green card. The rule targets migrants who rely on public benefits such as food aid or public housing for more than a year. Their applications will be rejected if the government decides they are likely to rely on public assistance in future. The new regulation known as Public Charge Rule will take effect on 15th of October. This is Sarah Sapsanama for Kantipur News Desk.
And now before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories one more time. Power equation within the ruling Nepal Communist Party transformed following allocation of responsibilities among senior leaders. Prime Minister Oli successful in strengthening his faction. People's representatives at the local levels resort to abusing state coffers through haphazard allocation of salaries and benefits, the move contrary to constitutional provision. Suicide bombers target wedding revelers in Afghan capital Kabul. A high casualty feared as victims rushed to nearby hospitals. And Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur settled for a draw as VAR in the spotlight yet again at the English Premier League. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin is at 11 a.m. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day ahead.